All right, there's so much going on here. Sokolow will talk a little bit about what the evidence shows.
I want to say just a couple points. I'll take some questions, but I want to make a couple of points first. I think it's important. Adam Schiff just said that this idea of the solicitation of foreign interference is deplorable. I wonder if he thought that about the fact that the Clinton campaign had sought, when it's completely corroborated, it's uncontested, the Steele dossier, who was utilizing both supposedly assets that a former British spy had in Russia to get information on the president, then candidate. Was that not foreign interference? Was that not an attempt for foreign interference? So you can get on your horse and act haughty and proud about it, but you know what? Let's look at what the evidence says. And here's what the evidence says. There was foreign involvement, but let's not forget where it originated from. Let's not forget, and we haven't even begun to put on our case yet. We still will not begin until actually tomorrow morning. But I want you to think about this. Where did that foreign intelligence come from? Foreign information come from? It came from connections from the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the number 3, whose wife happened to work for Fusion GPS, who happened to be hired by the DNC to happen to do an investigation on Donald Trump. And by the way, she didn't just do it with the Steele dossier. She was also involved with it with, guess what? Ukraine. So let's we haven't put our case out, obviously, haven't begun to. But you should be able to get a sense from what I'm saying right now that this is you're going to hear that. We're going to rebut and refute, and we're going to put on an affirmative case tomorrow. But that's just one issue. And for the life of me, they've done it, and why they opened up the...
Again, so this Ukraine connection to Hillary Clinton, to Obama, and to money that went through different people's hands, from a corporation to the DNC, back again to Obama or Hillary Clinton, is going to be pretty obvious here in time as this investigation grows. It's going to grow this year, and I believe it's going to lead to some convictions one way or another.
Door as wide as a double door on the Hunter Biden, Joe Biden, Burisma issue. I guess they figured that was their way of getting ahead of it. We will address it. Because let me say one last thing, and then I'll answer your questions. I always certainly want to answer your questions, but I want you to think about this for a moment. Joe Biden was charged as Vice President of the United States with the Ukraine policy. That was his specific charge. His son went to work for, went on the board of a Ukrainian gas company. First, the Vice President said he knew nothing about it. But the State Department knew about it because they were concerned when people were being put up for confirmation that that issue might arise. So believe me, you'll hear about that issue too. Let me take a few more questions. I know.
All right, so I'm going to end it there. This Joe Biden thing is just going to get deeper and wider because the Senate is also going to go back and go through this on a third-party, nonpartisan level. And this is just going to get worse. Let's go to what Senator Graham talked about with this Biden issue. The second part of this is Graham, Lindsey Graham, and he wants us to put ourselves in the shoes of Biden. So here goes.
I want to echo what Mr. Schiff said today, Manager Schiff. I want every American to put themselves in the shoes of the Bidens. You're the Vice President of the United States. You're in charge of Ukrainian corruption efforts, and your son winds up getting $3 million from the most corrupt entity in the Ukraine, Burisma. Would you expect people to give you a pass? To the average American, the first payment he got from Burisma, Hunter Biden, was $87,000. Do you expect anybody to ask questions about that? Here's what I can say. If the shoe were on the other foot, and this was Liz Cheney or Pence's son doing this in the Ukraine, Adam Schiff would be leading the charge for an investigation of what happened, because it is bad government, it is a clear conflict of interest, it undermines any effort to bring better government to the Ukraine and to combat corruption. How do you think the Ukrainians take this when they hear that the vice president's son is getting $3 million from the most corrupt company in the Ukraine? It kind of undercuts that narrative. I think it's bad foreign policy. And here's my point. I supported Mueller looking into all things Trump because I believe the country needed to have somebody outside politics to resolve the allegations against the president. Here's what is stunning to me, that the impeachment managers are telling the United States Senate and the country as a whole the Biden allegations have been investigated. That is a flat untruth. Nobody has done an investigation anywhere near like the Mueller investigation of the Bidens, and I think they should. And when this is
A Mueller investigation of the Bidens. Wow. And he thinks they should. We'll see if that even happens.
over, the Congress will do it if we can't have an outside entity do it. I think it's very important to find out what happened, why the prosecutor was fired, how the system could let this go unchallenged, how the Secretary of State's stepson could be on the payroll of this company. So the bottom line here is we cannot have an America where only one side is looked at. To my Democratic friends, I stood with you when you called for an outside entity to look at President Trump. I am now asking you to allow somebody outside of politics to look at what happened with the Bidens and with John Kerry's stepson and others when it comes to the Ukraine, because we're not going to live in a country where only Republicans get looked at. So here's what I am saying. At home, put yourself in the shoes and see what would happen to you if you did this. And if you're a Republican, please understand Mr. Schiff would not be so kindly towards you.
What did you think of the McCain clip?
Anyhow, we're going to end it there. I know the investigation is started already, I believe. But how serious it gets and how determined the investigators are to really find what's going on is an important question.